morning, everybody, and welcome back to another Mad Meta Magic, where we try to make the magic meta mad. I have done some audio editing to this video to try and improve the whole I move around a lot and change the audio pitch and the volume goes way up and way down. And so if the audio is better or worse, please let me know in this video in the comments below. I'd really appreciate it if you did. All the feedback that I can solicit is great. Today, I will be playing a deck that I saw Marin Moon playing, Maven Dragon. I don't know what she's going by right now, but this deck looks sick. It's Skred Wish. So I love Skred, first off. For those of you that don't know, Skred is named after the card Skred, which is a 1 red mana instant that deals damage equal to the number of snow permanents you control to a creature. So it's a 1 mana way to kill large creatures. It's scaling removal in red, which is kind of rare. For 1 mana anyway. Generally, red dumps extra mana to get more damage. But I really like Skred. So the idea with Skred used to be that you would generate some kind of mana advantage. You'd play Blood Moons as quickly as you could. You'd play like Chandra, Torch of Defiance, Blood Moon off of Simian Spirit Guide, Desperate Ritual, and then if the Blood Moon got answered or you didn't have a Blood Moon, you would recoup your card advantage with Scrying Sheets while using powerful red removal and casting powerful red answers like Thunder or red threats like Thundermaw, Hellkite, Glorybringer, Big Chandra, stuff like that. So the deck has changed a little bit, and this is interesting because it is a toolbox red deck, which I love. So in the early game, we have Lightning Bolt Skred for removal. We have Relic of Progenitus for anti-graveyard, grave hate, and we cycle through the deck a little bit faster. We've got Mind Stone, because we're not really doing a whole lot on 2. So we play a Mind Stone on 2 that lets us accelerate into our 4-drops on turn 3, and our 4-drops are where the real power comes out. Blood Moon. Blood Moon is a really good card, especially in the current format. There are tons of crazy mana bases running around, so if you can play Blood Moon, you probably should. The problem is not dying before you play Blood Moon, which this deck should, in theory, be fine because we are playing 8 1-mana removal spells that are good, so we can protect ourselves until we can land a Blood Moon. Now, the main portion of this deck is Wish. So Wish says you may play a card you own from outside the game this turn. What this means is, for an upfront investment of 3 mana, you can, or an additional cost of 3 mana, you can play anything out of the sideboard in addition to that turn. So if the game's going late because we mooned our opponent out of the game, we get like 6 mana, we can play a Chandra Acolyte of Flame off of a Wish as an example. But it has to be in that turn. Wish does not put the card in your hand like previous Wish spells have. But overall, I think it's good. We have Anger of the Gods as a sweeper. This is very good versus all of the aggressive graveyard decks. You know, if we happen to go up against Dredge, we go up against the Urza food deck. We go up against Vengevine is another deck that uses the graveyard that I've seen a few times. This card just sweeps all the creatures away, says they're exiled, and good luck. Favorite card in the deck, Chandra, Torch of Defiance. This card does not get the credit it deserves. This card is the red Jace the Mind Sculptor, and nobody else seems to make that comparison. At least I've heard it somewhere, so obviously somebody did. And I don't remember who, but I don't hear it often enough. Because this card has 4 abilities. It has card draw, it has mana advantage, it has removal spell, and it has an alt that wins the game. So it seems like Jace the Mind Sculptor to me. It's also a double-costed card in a 4-drop slot that's the same card type. So the card is very strong. Accelerates us from 4. So if we Mind Stone on 2, we can play Chandra on turn 3, and then we can play Wormcoil Engine on turn 4, provided nothing got removed, and we didn't even have to play an additional land. Koth of the Hammer, really good mono red. We have a ton of extra lands, so like we can just turn a mountain into a creature. Helps generate tons and tons and tons of mana based on the number of mountains we control, which should in theory be a lot most of the time. This lets us cast our Wish for our bigger targets. I mean, we don't have a ton of bigger targets, but it helps us wish because it generates a ton of extra mana. We have Karn, Great Creator, because what deck plays artifacts in the sideboard and doesn't play Karn, Great Creator, right? Karn, Great Creator also fits in the Wish sub-theme. We do not have Liquid Metal Coating. We are not playing a land destruction deck, although maybe we should be. Not 100% on that. Actually, let me double check and make sure that I didn't get the list wrong. because that would be just like Kano to do. Yes, so this is a Karn Great Creator list that is not playing Liquid Metal Coating. Interesting. Finally, in the 6-drop slot, we have Chandra, Awakened Inferno. This card is a complete house versus control. It can't be prismatic ending, can't be countered. Its uptick wins the game. Its downtick sweeps the board. And its other downtick can also kill individual large creatures. It upticks very quickly. And we have Wormcoil Engine, which is a very difficult creature to answer because it generally has to be answered in 3 parts unless your opponent has exile removal. And the only exile removal that seems to be running around in the current metagame is Prismatic Ending, which cannot hit this card, not unless people can tap for purple. And yeah, I think it's good. So out of the sideboard, we have a whole big toolbox. We have Tormod's Crypt, Grafdigger's Cage, for Grave Hate. We have Pithing Needle for activated abilities and answers for Planeswalkers and such. We have Dragon's Claw for anti-burn, anti-red. If we need to gain life, we can gain life. We can also wish for this card and then start gaining life. So we don't even have to main deck this card, or we don't even have to side it in. Torpor Orb. In fact, I don't think we side in most of this deck. I think we just play it as is. Torpor Orb is very good versus a lot of decks in the current metagame. A lot of the creature decks are playing creatures with Enter the Battlefield abilities, and a lot of those decks that have answers to artifacts have them stapled onto creatures, which means Torpor Orb can't be answered by some of the decks that it is good against, which is really, really awesome. We have Void Mirror versus Tron versus Cascade versus a lot of other nasty things that want to cast spells for free. Ensnaring Bridge. Ensnaring Bridge is also very good against creature decks. We have Trinisphere, which is punishing to decks that are like Storm, that want to cast a bunch of spells for free. You know me, I hate free spells. I love punishing people for casting free spells, so Trinisphere and me are best friends. We got Figure of Destiny, which is a threat that is cheap that we can wish for out of the sideboard. This is very easy to play off of a wish on turn 4 or whenever we have 4 mana, and then it scales relatively quickly into a very large, difficult-to-answer threat. It's the exact kind of threat that this deck wants to play off of a wish. We have Chandra, Acolyte of Flame, which can uptick our Planeswalkers even faster. It can downtick to rebuy some of our spells from the grave, including Wish. So if we end up with a million mountains and a Koth, like the dream scenario would be downtick Koth, get a million mana, wish for Chandra, play Chandra, downtick Chandra, wish again, get something else, like a Figure of Destiny, and then make it an 8/8 flying first strike. Valakut Exploration is another thing we can wish for out of the sideboard that's going to give us a ton of card advantage, provided we have the mana to wish for and then cast it. We have Magus of the Moon as Blood Moon number 5, that's wishable. In most situations, Magus of the Moon is going to be worse than Blood Moon because it dies to creature removal, and a lot of creature removal involves the words Lightning and Bolt. So it's going to hit Magus of the Moon. We have Shatter Spree, which we can answer a whole bunch of artifacts if we play against an Affinity deck, basically shutting down their whole game plan after sweeping the board. And Flame Slash, which is our emergency removal. We can wish for a Flame Slash for 4 mana, 4 damage. Seems like a fairly okay rate. Now, with that 9-minute deck tech out of the way, let's go ahead and I'll see you guys in round 1. Alright, I don't want to keep a hand with 5 mountains, even on the draw, especially versus a Lurrus deck, so I'm going to mulligan that. This is a lot better. We're going to keep... I think I'm actually going to put back Skred. The scaling damage is not going to matter as much, but the Anger of the Gods might. If my opponent leads on Ragavan or Dragon's Rage Channeler, we have a Lightning Bolt right away. We draw a mountain. Okay, play a mountain, pass the turn. The only problem is if my opponent has like a whole bunch of Thought Seizes or something like that, we might be in trouble. Opponent plays Ragavan and is passing. Now, if they're Grixis, they could have the Force Spike, and they could be hiding it under a Bloodstained Mire. If they're Grixis, they could also have Force of Negation, though I think that's less likely, because I don't think they play all that many blue cards. So what we're going to do is we're going to untap, draw... Okay, that makes it easy. Play a Mountain, and we're going to go ahead and Bolt Ragavan. We're doing this to play around the Force Spike. Okay, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They Inquisition. We are not going to Lightning Bolt. We are going to let them take their choice of Anger of the Gods or Lightning Bolt, because we want a creature removal spell in hand. So if I were to Lightning Bolt my opponent's face, they would take Anger of the Gods, and then they could resolve a threat potentially, and we wouldn't be able to deal with it. Okay, they take Lightning Bolt. They play Polluted Delta, so they do appear to be Grixis. We untap. We draw Mind Stone. Mind Stone is excellent because it does let us play around Force Spike when we want to, or not Force Spike, but it's the Stubborn Denial. That's the card that I can't remember the name of. It does let us play around Stubborn Denial to play Karn next turn. You know, provided and if our opponent casts something crazy, we can always cash it in, try and draw a card. Opponent fetches and shocks a Watery Grave. Okay. They draw. Expressive Iteration. They get a Dragon's Rage Channeler. They play a Scalding Tarn. They crack Bloodstained Mire. And they play Dragon's Rage Channeler. So this could be kind of an effort to force me to cast Anger of the Gods instead of Karn this turn. And a Death Shadow. Okay, Death Shadow actually large enough to survive Anger. So let's pass to our next turn. We untap. We draw Blood Moon, which is actually really good here. I am going to play Blood Moon because it denies my opponent the ability to play Luris, as well as most of their spells. They won't be able to cast their counter spells. This will let me be able to cash in Mind Stone to draw, if I want to. Okay, opponent was holding a swamp the entire time. They go to combat. They attack us for 7. We go to 13. They put Luris into their hand. Okay, I'm actually going to sack Mind Stone because they don't have blue for counter magic. We draw a mountain, that's fine. I would really like to draw a Bolt or a Skred. Okay, another Mind Stone. Play a mountain. So I think I'm going to have to wish for Cage. Or not Cage, Bridge. So play the Mind Stone. Play Karn. Let's wish and get Ensnaring Bridge. Pass the turn. So the only concern is my opponent has a whole bunch of Lightning Bolts or a Temur Battle Rage. If they do, we're dead. But there's not a lot we can do about that if they have it. Opponent plays a land, goes to combat. If they're attacking Karn at all, that's a good sign for us. Okay. So we have to hope they don't have a... What's the card called? Kolaghan's Command. I don't know why that was so hard. Play Bridge. And now really after this, all we need is a way to win the game. We will need it quickly because I'm pretty confident my opponent has a way to deal with an Ensnaring Bridge. Somewhere in their deck. I mean, they could just top deck enough bolts to kill us, too. We have to keep our hand size very low, though. Because if I don't play out this second Blood Moon, they could, like, dash in Ragavan, and then things could turn out poorly. We'll put it that way. Opponent is deep in the tank about this Ensnaring Bridge. Okay. Play Blood Moon 2, Mana Denial Boogaloo. Pass the turn. We have enough mana to play anything in our deck now. They bolt our face. They go Surveilling. This is kind of the concern. One of them. They put Bauble into the grave. They untap. They play a Polluted Delta. They pass. We untap. We draw a mountain. So play a mountain. Cycle the Mind Stone. Anger. Skred. Okay. So now our opponent needs 2 more Lightning Bolts to kill us. We once again have 6 mana, so we can cast anything we can draw. So any Planeswalker here would be amazing. Koth a little bit less so, but... Play a mountain, pass the turn. Actually, if I draw another mountain past that one... Okay, opponent Kolaghan's Command to kill Bridge, pick up Ragavan. That was what we were worried about. So they are going to hit us here by dashing Ragavan. Hopefully they don't get... some kind of big spell. Opponent exiles a mountain, so it won't be that kills us. They can play Luris now, and that lets them replay a Bauble. So that's a bit of a concern. If I could draw a Wormcoil Engine, I'd feel so much better about this. They Bauble us to see what we're drawing. It's a Koth. Play Koth. The mountain doesn't last until our next turn. We can't alt Koth, so we're actually just dead. That's unfortunate. But we knew our opponent had Kolaghan's Command, and I think we did everything we could. Do we sideboard for this matchup? Do we keep everything in the side for the purpose of wishing for it? They're all singletons. You know what? I think we do. Alright, we'll play first. I can keep this, yes. Play a mountain, pass the turn. Opponent leads on a Blood Crypt. Dragon's Rage Channeler, which is going to eat a Lightning Bolt. We untap, draw Mind Stone, play Scrying Sheets, play Mind Stone, pass the turn. Opponent Inquisitions, so they can take Wish or they can take Lightning Bolt. They take the other Mind Stone, interesting. We draw Wish, we have anything we want to wish for that's a 1-drop? Cage, Needle, Figure. I don't think so. Let's go ahead and pass. Okay. Opponent draws. Thoughtseize. Sure. They take a wish. Chandra. Okay. Untap. Draw Chandra. Play Chandra. Uptick. Pass the turn. I don't know what it is about Shadow players and keeping 1-landers. They must have needed to do the surveilling off of the Dragon's Rage Channeler. But I mean, if they had baubles, they would have played them and cracked them. That meant my opponent kept a 1-lander with Channeler and 2 hand hate spells with the expectation they would surveil into more lands, which I don't think you can do against a deck that you saw was playing Skred. Because that implies 8 1-mana good removal spells that answer your threats, and I don't think that was a good decision. I mean, yeah, possibly well, when you think about it, we're a deck that generally doesn't have card advantage because we're red, and I mean we're Skred, so we do have card advantage. But generally, I would think the expectation is, even if I have to mulligan once to find a better hand, it's probably worth it because my card advantage definitely beats their card advantage, kind of a situation, you know. Skred's a little iffy this early in the game, but I think it's overall fine because a lot of their threats to begin with have 1 toughness. Okay. Opponent plays another fetch. We draw Karn. Now I could play Karn. I don't think I'm going to. I think I'm going to leave Skred available. Next turn I could play Mind Stone and have Skred available. Okay. Opponent cracks their fetch and plays Ragavan. Skred. Untap. We draw Wormcoil. Well, if we land a Wormcoil at any point, that's probably going to be game over. Play Mind Stone, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, plays Bauble, passes. We untap, draw Chandra. Chandra guarantees we can play Wormcoil next turn, but Karn stops any more Bauble shenanigans, so we're going to play Karn. Okay, they crack Bauble in response on themselves. I'm going to uptick Karn this turn. Also, something you can do is you can animate Mind Stone just to have a 2/2. Opponent bolts Karn. If their plan's double bolting Karn, I'm okay with that. Because that means Karn absorbed all of the bolts for Wormcoil / Chandra. Yep, okay, so they fetch a basic Swamp. They untap and draw off of Bauble. They're shocking another Blood Crypt, bolting him again. Alright, I consider that successful. We untap, draw Blood Moon, play Chandra. We can either uptick for mana and play Blood Moon, or we can uptick for damage. I think we uptick for mana and play Blood Moon because my opponent's kind of at a critical point at their life total for Shadow, and what this means is they either have to fetch a basic island if they want an island, or they have to fetch and lose life for Shadow. Okay, they fetched a basic island. So I think that means Shadow's a 1/1 or a 0/0 right now. They could Kolaghan's Command, picking up Ragavan, shocking Chandra, taking her to 3. Then they could either dash or Lightning Bolt to deal more damage to her. But next turn, our plays are all like crazy. Hey, I'm Psychic. Opponent untaps. They dash Ragavan. They hit us for 2. I think they're hoping to hit a Lightning Bolt. They hit a Blood Moon. You want to cast a Blood Moon? I guess that's how you beat Ragavan, right? You just say, hey, did you want to cast these cards that are really bad for you to cast? Alright, uptick Chandra for damage. Do I want to cast a Relic this turn? Yeah, I could cast a Relic this turn. Yeah, okay, so I put off casting Wormcoil. That would probably end the game, but, like, that's fine. Opponent untaps, they draw. They're gonna dash in Ragavan. They go to combat. They attack us. Skred. Opponent drowns in the lock. Okay. They get to exile something. Skred. can't hit Planeswalkers. That's pretty good. Opponent plays a land. They're probably gonna put Lurrus in their hand. Oh, I'm Psychic. I'm not Psychic. It's just a manner of reading your opponent's mana. It's a very, very good skill to have. I'm gonna exile the Grave because I don't mind cantripping here. We untap. We draw a Lightning Bolt. Oh, it's amazing. Oh, it's so amazing. Actually, hang on. Uptick for damage. I can cast that Mind Stone, but I'm not going to. Yeah, how you answer that? Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. Expressive Iteration. They exile Inquisition of Kozilek. Bolt our opponent. Because it is at this point we just care about damage. Opponent can take Anger, we don't care. They might have to play Ragavan as a blocker. Could you imagine? Like, what do you do? They play a 5/5 Death Shadow, and they play a Ragavan. Okay. We untap. We draw a mountain. Cycle a Mind Stone. Okay. Sideboard. Oh, what's good? We can get a Flame Slash to kill Ragavan and force our opponent to block Wormcoil or they die. I'm good for that. Wish. Flame Slash. Go to combat. Opponent would have to have 2 lightning bolts to make this move bad. They don't block, they go to 2. Uptick Chandra for damage? I don't think they can gain life. Nice! Alright, well this deck looks pretty awesome. Alright, I'll see you guys in round 2. Alright. I don't think I can keep 5 lands. I'm gonna mulligan. Much better. I'm going to put back Relic. I'll feel a little silly if this is a graveyard deck, but... Alright, opponent starts Scalding Tarn. We draw a Wish. Play a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent also mulligan to 6. They play a Colony Garden. Okay, so this is the... either the Elemental or whatever Cascade deck. Play a Mountain, play a Mind Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. They're probably going to get a basic island. They did not. They play a Sacred Foundry. Are they going for the Cascade? They are. They get a Glimpse of Tomorrow, hitting 2 Tireless Provisioners. That gives them 3 mana. Violent Outburst. I mean, playing with only 4 permanents is probably not... Okay, never mind. We're actually going to die, because my opponent just hit a billion things that make tokens. Yeah, 2 Chancellor of the Forges means we're dead. Here's where I wish we were playing Chalice. It wouldn't be unreasonable in this deck either, just to like throw down a Chalice on 0 to begin with. I may actually need to put Void Mirror in the main deck, just so I can draw it on time. Grafdigger's Cage I can play off of 4 mana, but let's take out the Relics, and I guess put these in the main deck. That could end up being really bad, but I've got a feeling my opponent is going to combo faster than we can Wish. I'm going to drop a Wish and bring in a Trinisphere as well. And a Torpor Orb. I don't know if the Torpor Orb made it in. This hand doesn't do anything. This hand does. So I'm going to keep. We'll put back Skred. Lead on Cage. Pass the turn. The opponent probably has some kind of artifact removal. Play a Mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Wooded Foothills. Passes. We draw Karn. Play a Mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent cracks Wooded Foothills. Gets a Raugrin Triome. Plays a Tireless Provisioner. Kill it immediately. We untap. Draw a Mountain. Play Mountain. Play Chandra. Uptick for damage. We cannot cast Chandra Awakened Inferno, and that makes me sad. Opponent Force of Vigors, pitching Tireless Provisioner. They play a Wooded Foothills. They crack Wooded Foothills. They get a Mountain. Shardless Agent. They're going to go for it here. Floating a red mana. They wheel into 3 lands. Nothing else. That's a pretty high variance thing that happened. We untap. We draw Koth. So, uptick Chandra. Let's see what we draw. Nothing. Did I leave anything that's useful for this, my opponent's deck in the sideboard? I left a Torpor Orb. Okay. Play a Mountain. Play Koth. Down tick him to add a bunch of mana. Play a Karn. Wish. We'll get a Torpor Orb. Play it. Pass the turn. So that stops Dark Dwellers, that stops Omnath's Draw, that stops a whole bunch of stuff, really. Chancellor. So they're going to kill Koth. They play a Fury, which doesn't ping anything, and they play a Seasoned Pyromancer. We untap. We draw Anger. Okay. That makes life a lot easier. Uptick for mana. Anger. Game's over. Yeah, I think that keeping the cards that I brought in the main deck are the way to go. That feels really awkward, because, like, you know, what do we wish for if I'm doing that? But, like, without them, we're just going to lose. Because our opponent combos faster than we can wish for stuff. This might work, but like I said, I brought in all the stuff I need to wish for. This also might work, but it also might be way too slow. Opponent is keeping 6. I'm going to go to 5. I'm going to go to 4. I'm going to go to 3. All right. So I'm keeping 3 cards. It's going to be these. Opponent starts Colony Garden. Draw a Lightning Bolt, play a Mountain, leave up Lightning Bolt. The good news is my opponent is playing Force of Negation, or Force of Nature, or whatever it's called. Why can't I think of what that's called? Force of Vigor. They're playing Force of Vigor as their artifact removal spell of choice, so hopefully Void Mirror can stop them from casting it. If they just have a bunch of lands, though, they could just hard cast it. Okay. Opponent plays Wooded Foothills, passes. We untap and draw a Mountain, play a Mountain, play a Mind Stone. Opponent untaps, they play a Island. And they are passing. We untap, draw a Mountain, play a Mountain, pass the turn. So I suspect they're going to cast Force of Vigor here. Sack Mind Stone to draw. Okay. They untap. They shock Temple Garden. They cast Wave Sifter. They get to investigate. Scrying Sheets. There's a Skred. Alright. We're going to need to draw something in soon. Play a Mountain. I'm actually going to Bolt because Skred's going to do more damage. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a land. They Violent Outburst. Okay. So Violent Outburst resolves. They have a lot of permanents, so they're probably going to get it here. They can Dark Dwellers. They did not stack their triggers correctly, I can tell you that. Scrying Sheets. Bolt on top. That's not going to help. Okay. We're going to Skred the Chancellor. Because it reduces the number of creatures they create to Chancellor's effect by 1, which I don't think is going to matter. I think our opponent ended up just having the answer and the land to play it. We also mulligan to 3, so I'm not too upset about losing this because this is a completely winnable matchup. Moto has frozen. That would be why. Okay. Well, they're going to kill us. They're drawing at least 6 cards this turn, so if they don't have enough to keep going off to try and kill us, they're going to find it. And I don't have the patience for that, because I'm making a video and have plans after. Alright, so I'm going to see you guys in round 3. Alright, round 3, we will be on the draw. Against a Lurrus deck. I don't really want to keep this hand, because we don't do anything early. I definitely think we need like a Lightning Bolt or a Skred in our opener if we can get it. So let's go ahead and mulligan. Okay, I do like this actually a lot better. I'm going to put back a Mountain. Opponent has mulligan to 5. This isn't the same opponent, is it? No, okay. Yep. Opponent mulligan to 5. They lead on Bloodstained Mire. They fetch and shock a Blood Crypt into a Dragon's Rage Channeler. Okay, come on. Bolt / Skred. Let's go. They Surveil and they're leaving it on top. They crack Bauble immediately to draw. So we draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain, play a Relic. Exile a card from their grave. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Scalding Tarn. Cracks Scalding Tarn. They get a Steam Vents. They go to 14. Second Dragon's Rage Channeler. Inquisition. Double Surveil. They put a Bolt in the grave. And they leave whatever is left on top. So they can take an Anger or a Mind Stone. They take Mind Stone. Hit us for 3. We untap, draw a Mountain, play a Mountain, exile a card from their grave. Okay, pass the turn. I am not opposed to cracking Relic during combat. I think that's fine. Opponent draws a card. They play a land. So they're probably going to put Lurrus in their hand this turn. They fetch and shock. Okay, Lurrus goes in their hand. They go to combat. They attack, shrink the team, draw a card. We get a Worm Coil. Get hit for 2. Untap, draw Chandra. Really wish that was Torch of Defiance, but pass the turn. So if opponent has, like, Lurrus Bauble, I think that's the worst case scenario for us. They play another Dragon's Rage Channeler and pass. We untap and draw Blood Moon. Excellent. Pass the turn. So opponent will be able to, like, dash Ragavan if they want. Oh, they have Unearth. They cycle Unearth. They play a Swamp. Man, what is it with my Lurrus opponents top decking what is presumably their Singleton Swamp? They hit us for 1, they take us to 11. We untap, we get a Mind Stone. Play Mind Stone. Play Anger. Pass the turn. Kind of an awkward kill spell, but I'll take it. We draw Torch of Defiance. Play it. Uptick for damage. Pass the turn. Pretty sure if we play Wormcoil Engine, this game is over. Opponent Thought Seizes. Alright, Choice of Damnations. Their last card in their hand is Lurrus, and they can't play it, so they can either... Okay, they take the Wormcoil, which is reasonable, but then they scoop. Alright! Old Chandra victory. Yeah, no sideboarding changes, run it back. I mean, it seems so far that we kind of just curb stomp, like, Grixis Ragavan, or the Lurrus deck, whatever you want to call it, which is awesome, because I've been wanting a deck to do that forever. We have a Bolt. That's about it. Too many colorless lands. I'm actually going to mulligan this hand. Alright, yeah, this works. Opponent mulligan to 6, then we mulligan to 6. Okay. We're going to put back a Skred. They lead on Bauble. They crack it. They play Blackcleave Cliffs, and they pass. They draw a card. We draw Blood Moon. Excellent. Play Snow-Covered Mountain, pass the turn. Kind of hoping they dash Ragavan here. Opponent cracks Scalding Tarn. They shock a Blood Crypt. Kroxa. Okay. So we either discard Anger or we discard Skred. I think we discard Anger, because Blood Moon should stop our opponent from playing Kroxa, and we have other Grave Hate in the deck. Okay. Play a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent fetched up a basic Swamp. They're going to play a Bauble. I should have killed it during combat, in case they did have a 0-drop like that. They Bauble our top deck. Skred their guy. Untap. They draw. We draw. Mountain. Play Mountain. Play Blood Moon. Pass the turn. If they have another basic Swamp, we're probably screwed. Play Dragon's Rage Channeler. They play a land. They pass. We untap. We draw another Blood Moon. Play a Mountain. Play Chandra. And because my opponent runs Lightning Bolt, uptick for mana. Kill Channeler. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. Passes. We untap. Draw Mountain. Play a Mountain. Uptick. Play Mind Stone. Play second Blood Moon. Pass the turn. So opponent could... Okay, they have Unholy Heat, but they didn't have Delirium. Second Unholy Heat. So Unholy Heat's probably their best spell against us. We untap. Draw Wormcoil. I got news for you, opponent. Pass the turn. I think you're losing. Opponent passes. Scoops. Wormcoil, the unbeatable powerhouse. And turns out the trick to playing Wormcoil is just don't play Tron. I'll see you guys in round 4. Alrighty, round 4, and we're on the play. I actually don't think this hand is that bad. I'm going to keep. We're bad against a Thoughtseize deck, of course, but play a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent leads on a Flooded Strand. We draw Anger, play a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. They get a Watery Grave. We have no idea what this deck is. Okay, it's Esper of some kind. That much is clear. We untap, draw another Wormcoil, play a Mountain, pass the turn. Okay. Opponent's turn. They shock a Hollowed Fountain, and they pass. We draw a Wish. I mean, we can still wait. They're screaming Counterspell, so... Like, best case scenario, they have to play 3 mana Teferi and downtick to hit a land here. Okay. They play a land tapped. So they either have Esper Charm, Archmage's Charm, or both. Fine by me, Chalice on 0. Play Blood Moon. That'll draw a counter. Okay. Blood Moon less good against them because they do have Esper Charm, which can destroy enchantments, but they would have to have the mana to do it immediately. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand. They crack it. They get an island. So here comes 5 mana Teferi. At least I'm pretty sure. Oh, 3 mana Teferi. Okay. Upticking him to 5. Alright. We untap. We draw Mind Stone. Play Chandra. She's probably going to get countered. Uptick for mana. Bolt Teferi. They're going to drown in the lock that Lightning Bolt. Alright. Pass the turn. That's interesting. So they were worried we had double Bolt. That also means they're not worried about running out of counters or anything like that. I think next turn we're probably just going to try and cast a Wormcoil Engine. They uptick Teferi to 6. I mean, I guess Wormcoil Engine doesn't really do anything versus our opponent when they have an active Teferi like that. We untap, draw a Mountain. So I can wish for anything. I can wish for Pithing Needle. Play a Mountain. Let's go ahead and wish for Pithing Needle. Uptick for mana. Wish. Archmage's Charm. Okay, play Mind Stone. Pass the turn. So if my opponent downticks Teferi on Mind Stone, we can sack it in response and they won't get to draw. Unmarked Grave. Okay, so they're Reanimator. That's actually super bad for us, because we don't have Grave Hate. So if they have Persist, we're probably just dead. Opponent's smart. They down tick to draw without targeting. They play a land, right? On their end step, draw a card. It's a Bolt. Untap. We draw Blood Moon. Uptick for mana. Bolt to Fairy. Play Worm Coil. Pass the turn. Now we have something to sack that Archon doesn't immediately beat us. We still need to resolve a Blood Moon. Ideally, if they can't reanimate this turn, we can ult Chandra. Wow, we got him! I was not confident in our abilities that game, but I should have been. That's the short of that. I should have been. Okay, so we have Cage, Crypt in the sideboard for Grave Hate. In the main deck, we have Relic. I don't think we change it up. I think we just run it back. We have to be a little bit worried and knowledgeable about whether our opponent's going to go for a quick reanimate or not. But we have the tools to answer it both in the main and in the side. So I really hope this doesn't come down to a Skred for 8 killing an Archon or whatever it is. Skred for 6. All right, this looks like a very keepable hand. Our opponent mulligans to 6, which is good news for us. They are running 68 cards in their deck now. Were they running 68 cards before and I just didn't notice? Lead on Relic. Mind Stone's great because it gives us something to do on turn 2. Exile that Polluted Delta. Pass the turn. Did my opponent just bring in half their sideboard and say go? Alright. Play a Mountain. Play a Mind Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Glacial Fortress. They play Teferi. They can bounce Mind Stone if they want. And they do. I can't sack it, so I just have to let this happen. I could float mana there, but I don't think it's that important. We untap. Draw another Mountain. Play a Mountain. Replay Mind Stone. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand. Upticks Teferi to 2. Cracks Flooded Strand. We untap. Draw Mind Stone. Play a Mountain. Wish. Opponent might just consider this bad TM and counter it. Yep, I'm alright with that. Exile the card out of their grave. Pass the turn. There's not really a whole lot we could have gotten there that was actually dangerous. I was probably going to get Cage, but my opponent's like so eager to counter stuff that just, I'll throw out stuff that's inconsequential. It doesn't really matter to me. They play Flooded Strand. I'd like to draw a Lightning Bolt. There it is. Lightning Bolt. They drown in the lock. Play a Mountain. Play Chandra. This would have to be another Archmage's Charm or an actual counter spell. We're almost to enough snow permanents that Skred could kill an Archon. Hardcast Force of Negation. Okay. Exile a card from their grave. We lose Chandra. So I'm kind of okay with tapping Mind Stone here because if my opponent wanted to bounce it, really there's nothing stopping them. They would lose to Fairy in the process, and I don't think that's something they're willing to do. We untap. Draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. Sack Mind Stone. Another Chandra. Play Mind Stone. Once again, trying to bait counter spells. Opponent was actually considering countering that. That or they're trying to get, like, they're trying to bluff me into saying, like, I got more counters. And they probably do. But, like, okay, finally they use the correct mode on Archmage's Charm. Okay. They draw. They play a Drowned Catacomb. They uptick Teferi to 5. Sack Mind Stone. We get an Anger. Maybe I should have sided out the Angers. We get a Blood Moon. So the chance of our opponent having a counterspell is roughly 100%. Blood Moon's something it seems like they would need to counter. They drown. Crack Relic. So we might be able to force them to play 2 counters here. Actually, does that work? For some reason I was thinking this was an intervening F clause. And it's not an intervening F clause. Opponent blue-black for an unmarked grave. They put Archon of Cruelty into the grave. Okay. Blood Moon resolves. Pass to second main. Play a Snow-Covered Mountain, pass the turn. So now even if they have... Well, they can bounce it with Teferi. Which is one reason why I think my opponent probably... Well, I guess that makes sense. They still... If Blood Moon resolved, they don't have access to mana to deal with Blood Moon until they bounce it. So they can persist out an Archon. We discard Blood Moon. They go to 20, we go to 17. They draw a card. Untap. We draw a Snow-Covered Mountain. So first things first. Skred. They have a counter spell. Okay. Play a Mountain. Play Chandra. Down tick for damage. Anger. This is really our only hope to answer this turn. Awesome. Pass the turn. Now it's exiled. They can't reanimate it. So it depends on how many of them they're playing if they're going to continue reanimating them. If that didn't work and my opponent has like another unmarked grave for a second Archon, we're probably screwed because it's going to force us to sack our Planeswalker. Opponent upticks Teferi to 3. The bad part is Teferi kind of makes it, or makes Chandra only tick up for damage. We can't cast the spells we hit off of Chandra. Opponent plays a Chalice on 1. Okay. We untap, we draw a mountain. Uptick for damage. Pass the turn. Opponent upticks Teferi to 4 after playing a land. We untap and draw a mountain. Uptick Chandra for damage. Okay, we hit a mountain. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps. They downtick Teferi to draw and play a land. We draw Blood Moon. Uptick Chandra for damage. No! We hit 6 mana Chandra. That was like the one spell we didn't want to hit off of Chandra. Cast Blood Moon. Counterspell. Counterspell! Okay. Pass the turn. I guess I'm kind of lucky that my opponent can't just Prismatic Ending Chandra Torch of Defiance. Watch them fetch up a breeding pool and do exactly that. Opponent upticks Teferi to 2. This could be a hard-cast Archon. I don't know what else they would be playing, unless they have an X draw spell or something. Yeah, okay. So we sack Chandra, we discard a land. Well, if I draw a Skred, I can answer it. That's not a Skred. Okay, we're going to the next game. Us hitting that Chandra feels super bad. Okay, run it back, and this time we'll be on the play. Alright, we'll play first. Ooh, we cannot keep that. Much better. Put back Skred. Lead on Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent plays a Flooded Strand and passes. Draw Blood Moon. Play a Mountain, play a Mind Stone. Opponent cracks Flooded Strand. If they have a Spell Piercer or Spell Snare, we're going to be a little bit sad. They could also have Prismatic Ending for Mind Stone itself. They get a Hollowed Fountain tapped. Pass the turn. Shocking a Watery Grave. We draw a Mountain. Play a Mountain. Play Moon. Okay. Counterspell. Counterspell. You counterspelled my Blood Moon. Sorry. I can't help it. Somebody pointed out that highlight of me doing that in a previous video, and like ever since, that's all I can think of when I see Counterspell. We untap. We draw a Mind Stone. Play Mind Stone. Play Blood Moon. Perfect. Pass the turn. Now what are you going to do? Nothing. Alright, we untap. Draw a Lightning Bolt. Play Koth. They have to have Force of Negation. I technically did this incorrectly. What I should have done was tap both Mind Stones there, because I can't leave up Lightning Bolt now. Not that that's probably going to matter, but hit our opponent down to 13. They play a Polluted Delta, and scoop. It's what you get. Playing a 3-color mana base, not expecting Blood Moon. They were fetching... I mean, I guess you have to fetch duels in a deck like that, but well, with 3 and 1, we've already gotten a treasure chest. Let's see if we can 4-1. See you guys in round 5. Alright, we're on the play for round 5, and we are against a Luris deck. I think we can keep. Lead on a Mountain, pass the turn. Opponent suspends Rift Bolt, so they are burned. Play a Mountain, pass the turn. Blood Moon actually might work against them, stopping them from casting Lightning Helix and Boros Charm, as well as Luris. So we go down to 17. They play a Swift Spear. Kill it immediately. Kill it with fire! Well, I mean, more like lightning, but... Blood Moon. Pass the turn. Opponent plays an Eidolon. We untap and draw a Wish. Play Relic. Take damage. Need to find mana. There it is. Pass the turn. Opponent plays a Swift Spear and a Goblin Guide. They're going to hit us for 5. Skred on top. We untap and draw Skred. We only need 1 mana to wish for Dragon's Claw. And we only need 1 mana to wish for Pyroclasm as well. Oh, no, we don't have Pyroclasm in this version. Let me think. I could wish for Flame Slash, but I'd take a bunch of damage by doing that. So I think to stop the bleeding a little bit, play Chandra, uptick for mana, Skred Eidolon. My opponent has to have Bolt here, and if they do, we definitely are dead, but they suspend Rift Bolt, they attack us for 3, we hit a land, perfect, untap, draw Koth. Okay, play a Mountain, uptick for mana, play Koth. Actually, hang on, I have 7. I can play Koth for 4 and get 5 back, which leaves me with 8 mana. Then I can wish for Dragon's Claw and wish for something else, and that gains me a life. Or I can just play Wormcoil, but my opponent has a... I think I did that wrong, hang on. So I can wish for Dragon's Claw. That would put me down to 2, and I can't cast Wish. Yeah, I think I missequenced here. Alright, well, play Koth. Downtick for mana. Wish. We cannot get completely empty-handed. I can get Void Mirror, and that counters that counters the Rift Bolt. I have 5 mana left. Maybe I just wish for Flame Slash and then wish for Figure. That's worse than playing Wormcoil, though. Oh, I can wish for Trinisphere, actually. Playing Trinisphere stops me from casting anything else, but unless my opponent draws a land, they can't play anything else. We die to them playing a single spell, I think. Okay, Trinisphere it is. They can't cast Rift Bolt, which means they can't even get a Prowess trigger. Land, they attack us for 3. We go to 2. They pass. We untap. Draw a mountain. Okay. So what can we do here? Well, we're playing a mountain. We have 6, 7, 8, potentially 9 mana, meaning I can play Wormcoil and one other thing. Or I can play Wormcoil and downtick to kill a creature. If I uptick Chandra for mana and I plus Koth, that's 9 mana. I could wish for Dragon's Claw, that takes 6, but then I'm going to die. I can't deny them mana. I think we just play Wormcoil this turn. So we're going to plus for damage. We hit Snow-Covered Mountain. Play Wormcoil. See if they got the Lightning Bolt. Untap a mountain. Go to combat. Pass the turn. I animated the wrong mountain. It's a problem that Koth has. Opponent plays a land. Searing Blaze. That does it. Okay. Well, the good news is, I don't think Burn's unbeatable. Run it back. No adjustments. It's possible that I took the wrong sequence there. It's possible that I took too much damage off of Eidolon when I didn't have to or something as well. We'll play first, of course. Yeah, seems good. Play Mountain, leave up Lightning Bolt on turn 1. Turn 2, we can play Mind Stone and a Relic, which is why I'm not playing Relic on turn 1. Opponent plays Sunbaked Canyon into Goblin Guide. Draw me a land, Goblin Guide. Karn, the Great Creator. Well, not going to take this damage. Untap, draw Karn, play Mountain, play Mind Stone, play Relic, exile Guide, pass the turn. Opponent plays another guide. Draw me a land, Goblin Guide. We play 25 lands. Wish. Well, Wish is not really what we want right now. Cycle Relic. My god, if we'd have drawn a land instead of that Wish. Opponent suspends Rift Bolt. Skred on top of our deck. That at least kills Goblin Guide. Pass the turn. Rift Bolt coming off, suspend. They shoot us for 3. They draw. They go to combat. Attack us for 2, and we finally draw a mountain. Skred Goblin Guide. They pass. We untap. Draw a mountain. Play a mountain. Play Karn. Wish. Get Trinisphere. Pass the turn. So next turn we can play Chandra, uptick for mana, and then play Trinisphere. Opponent bolts Karn. I don't think that was right. I think they needed to bolt us. Plays a Swift Spear. Hits us for 1. We untap and draw Blood Moon. Play Mountain. Play Chandra. Uptick for mana. Play Trinisphere. Pass the turn. Opponent can't cast spells for at least 2 turns. They hit Chandra for 1. We untap and draw Wish. Uptick for mana. Wish. Cast Dragon's Claw. Pass the turn. Okay, opponent loses because they kept a 1-lander when they definitely shouldn't have. I only have 14 cards in the sideboard. How have I played this whole league with only 14 cards in the sideboard? What card am I missing? I'm missing the Pyroclasm. There's supposed to be a Pyroclasm in the sideboard. Here I was complaining, I was like, I don't have liquid metal coating. I didn't even bother to count. It's gonna be the new meme. Kano can't count. First he couldn't read, now he can read, but now he can't count. Opponent plays Goblin Guide, attacks. We draw a mountain, take 2, untap. Draw another mountain, play a mountain, play a Lightning Bolt now so we don't have to discard. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. They play a Sunbaked Canyon. They play an Eidolon. We untap, we draw. Lightning Bolt. Play a mountain, pass the turn. Opponent untaps, they draw. We're going to let them cast whatever they're going to cast before they attack. Or not. They attack for 2. Skred the Eidolon. Take the damage. Opponent Lava Spikes. Plays a land. Then plays another Eidolon. Bolt that Eidolon. We untap. Come on, Blood Moon. Okay, it's a mountain. Play Scrying Sheets. Pass the turn. Actually, I should have possibly played a mountain there because of Koth. Okay, opponent cycles Sunbaked Canyon. Plays a Sacred Foundry tapped. That's looking like good news for us. Activate Scrying Sheets. Wormcoil Engine on top. We untap. Draw Wormcoil. Play a mountain. Play Chandra. Uptick for damage. Scrying Sheets into the exile zone. Pass the turn. Opponent untaps, cycles their other Sunbaked Canyon. suspends a Rift Bolt, plays a mountain, we untap, draw a mountain, play a mountain, uptick for mana, play Worm Coil, pass the turn. Rift Bolt coming off suspend. I mean, if they just have a bunch of lightning bolts and a skull crack, we're gonna die. They shoot Worm Coil for 3. Ooh, that does not bode well for our opponent. So they're gonna follow up with a Searing Blaze. Okay, Worm Coil splits into tokens. They must have a skull crack. We untap, draw Wish. Okay, so we'll have 6 mana, 7, 8. I can wish for Dragon's Claw, I guess. Play a mountain, go to combat. Attack for 6, smash to smithereens. Okay? That is not as bad as a skull crack. Is Dragon's Claw our best bet? I think so. So wish, play Dragon's Claw, uptick. Okay, we did not hit a 1-mana spell, pass the turn. Opponent untaps. If they have Skull Crack Lightning Bolt, we die. If they have Skull Crack Lightning Bolt, we die. They suspend Rift Bolt, and that should actually kill our opponent. We ult Chandra, cast Koth, untap a mountain, and hit them for 5 and swing 8. Draw a mountain. So I'm not going to play a mountain because I don't want to screw this up. Ult Chandra, play Koth, shoot our opponent. Always yes, always yield. Gain a life. I messed that up. I clicked the wrong mountain at the last second, but this should still kill our opponent. They'd have to have a path to not die. And we got him, and we got the 4-1. All right, let's open up our treasure chest. It feels like this has been way too long coming. All right, treasure chest number 1. 10 play points and a drowned catacomb. Treasure chest number 2. 5 play points, a hostage taker, and a planar outburst. Treasure chest number 3. 10 play points and a Shimian Spectre. Treasure chest number 4. 5 play points, a extended art elemental expressionist, and a Stormbreath Dragon. Stormbreath Dragon used to be played in Skred as a finisher, believe it or not. Treasure chest number 5. Final treasure chest. 45 play points and a Pontiff of Blight. Wow. So, what do I think about this deck? I freaking love it. I love this deck. I think this deck is great. I think it's well positioned in the current metagame. I think it absolutely curb stomps the monkey, which is exactly what you want in this current metagame. I think it's an off-meta deck. I think it's a deck that doesn't cost as much as it could. There is a lot of expensive cards in this deck, but honestly, the mana base, the lack of the mana base cost actually really increases the playability of this deck. Scrying Sheets I know to be an expensive spell. Hang on. I can actually tell you. So the current... If you wanted to build this deck in paper, the TCG market or TCG player market price is $400. And the vast majority of that, I think, is locked up in Blood Moon, the single Karn, and the Scrying Sheets. Because the Scrying Sheets is like $30 a piece. So, like, yes, without Scrying Sheets, this deck would cost a lot more. I think if you were gonna, you could build this deck without Scrying Sheets if you didn't have them. And I think what you would do is you would play either Gaia Reach Sanitarium, or you would play, there's a different card that I'm thinking of. You wouldn't play Mikokoro because that's a mirrored draw. I think Gaia Reach Sanitarium would be reasonable, though, if you wanted to play an alternative to Scrying Sheets or as a budget consideration. Obviously, Scrying Sheets is better because it's like a 50% chance of just draw a card. But I really like this deck. It plays a ton of cards that I really like. It has a toolbox feel to it. It's completely monocolored, which means you're not taking damage off of your mana base. You're not getting punished by Blood Moon. You get to play Blood Moon. I really like this deck, and I encourage you guys, play this deck if you're having problems in the current Modern metagame. Curb stomp more monkeys. Show Ragavan that he's not the tip top of this format. And I love Skred. I've loved Skred for a very long time. For a long time, it wasn't really considered playable, especially after they banned Simian Spirit Guide. The deck got a lot worse because you could no longer, turn 1 Blood Moon your opponent, which is really good versus a lot of opponents. But, casting Blood Moon fairly on turn 2, turn 3 still seems very good, still good in this metagame. People are playing greedy mana bases because of Prismatic Ending. People are playing greedy mana bases because of Omnath. People are playing greedy mana bases because of combo decks that are 4 or 5 colors. So... play the non-basic land hate, punish them, and if they get salty, tell them to play a better deck. I don't know. All right, well, I hope you guys enjoyed this content. If you did, please leave a like, drop a comment, subscribe to the channel if you're so inclined, and remember, you can follow me on Twitch. Same username over here as you find me on there. I stream, I said that backwards. I stream Wednesdays in the afternoon, sometimes early, sometimes late. And yeah, let me know about the audio in this video. Hopefully it's better. Hopefully it's not worse. And I'll leave a link to where I found this deck list, the video I found this deck list in the description below. That will be there instead of the regular deck list link. That video has a link to the deck list, so sorry for chaining it, but it's not originally my deck. I just really like playing it. I'm probably going to make some adjustments and play this again because I love Skred, and this is a really fun deck for me to play. But yeah, you're all wonderful human beings. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you guys next time. Bye! Hey, just wanted to give a shout out to my patrons for the month of August. You guys are wonderful, and I really appreciate your support. It's been helping me make a lot of good content. If you want your name to show up in this list, there's a link to my Patreon in the description down below if you want to support this channel. Thank you so much.